They don't want what we know out there. You'll never get those on CNBC. But our school system will never tell us that because they're part of the process. Fake money, fake futures, fake assets.
Ever feel like life's a game rigged against you? You see, the following line rocketing upwards like a spaceship on fire is Elon Musk's bank account over the last few years. Now, hold on a sec, let's take a peek at yours. Yeah, that one. Looks more like a rickety roller coaster, doesn't it? Up a little with a raise, then boom! Mortgage hits you like a rogue wave. School loans? But all of a sudden, there's a flicker of hope. That paycheck, that bonus, that lucky win at bingo, they all add up, slowly pulling you out of the abyss. Just when you think you're catching your breath, wham! Taxes take another chunk. You're back in the negatives, wondering, how do I get richer if every time I get poorer? You are grinding away at some job you're not too excited about, the kind of gig you took because your college degree didn't really pan out like you hoped. Money always seems crazy tight. After rent, bills, debt payments, and other expenses, you are usually pretty tapped out every month. Getting ahead feels impossible when your paycheck barely covers the bare necessities. Meanwhile, you can't help but get annoyed seeing rich celebrities and entrepreneurs living lavishly. How did they strike it so big when you're just treating water financially? It's not fair. They must have had some huge advantages or connections you didn't, or maybe they just flat out cheated the system somehow. Easy for you to assume they had it made from birth or got extremely lucky. But look, having a wealthy background or catching some lucky breaks doesn't automatically make someone bad or mean. You are just a victim of circumstance yourself. We all get it, those desires for the good life with luxuries, dream homes, sweet rides, and amazing vacations seem permanently out of reach on your current trajectory. The deck is stacked against regular folks like yourself. You are destined to be eternally broke and struggling, right? No way. I'm here to tell you that's total nonsense. There are absolutely ways that the rich use to accumulate their wealth that you can apply too. What if I said you don't have to throw away your hopes for living debt-free, taking care of your family, or seeing the world? I'm not just talking out of my rear. I can back this up. The reason why the wealthy keep getting richer while most people like you stay trapped in a cycle of poorness is because there are rules to this game that aren't widely shared, but you're about to learn them. The dark trap for the poor in life. You ever feel like no matter how hard you work, you can never get ahead? Like you're just running on a hamster wheel going nowhere fast? Well, that's the rat race for ya. It's this never-ending cycle of chasing money and status symbols that keep many folks trapped and struggling their whole lives. From the moment you were born, society started pushing you down this dead-end road. That social security number they stamped you with at birth? That was like getting barcoded and branded as a rat race runner before you could even talk. As a kid, they condition you for the rat race through schools and advertisements. Schools teach you to just sit still, memorize stuff, and follow orders like a good little worker bee. The fun of using your imagination gets squashed out of you. And those toy commercials on TV? They're training you early that happiness comes from buying. Once you hit adulthood, there's two main rat race paths they want you on, either the consumer rat or the savings rat. The consumer rat lives for paydays so they can splurge on the latest fashion, tech gadgets, nice wheels, and other junk to show off to their friends. They spend like there's no tomorrow, financing everything with piles of debt. Having the nicest stuff makes them feel good for a hot second, but the joy is so fleeting. Then you got the savings rats. These are the people who work like dogs at jobs they hate for decades. They scrimp and save, trying to squirrel away enough to hopefully retire comfortably someday. Only most of them never really get to that rich promised land after all those years of skimping. Both those paths are designed to benefit the rich elite at the top, not you. The consumer rat keeps lining the pockets of big corporations by always buying their latest products. The savings rat's dreams get drained away by banksters through fees on their retirement funds. No matter which road you take, you stay trapped in this cycle of endless work for modest pay, a cycle that's being reinforced through every part of the system. The education scheme. I already mentioned how schools from kindergarten through college mold you to be an obedient conformist worker following orders from your bosses. kids getting in trouble for coloring outside the lines or exploring their creativity. No wonder so many folks end up robots in some dull cube farm for 40 hours a week. Tests reinforce that the smart kids are only the ones good at memorizing useless facts to spill back out on a Scantron sheet. Anyone who thinks differently or believes in following their passions instead of grinding for a paycheck? Well, they're labeled the dumb ones by the narrow education mindset. The ultimate message drilled into you for over 18 years? Going to work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday is completely normal and acceptable. Don't even think about other paths outside that rat race. Brainwashing through advertising. Then you got the advertising world fueling that consumer rat hunger 24/7, turning on your TV, radio, computer, you name it, and there's a billion ads screaming, buy this to be happy, you need this to impress people, get this to finally feel complete. From toys and sweets for kids, all the way up to luxury cars and mansion porn, we are taught to chase endless material possessions. That iPhone 20 you're eyeing? Well, it will definitely finally make your life perfect this time. Until the 21 comes out in 6 months, that is. Same goes for that fancy new car or big house you are lusting after. Companies dangle these shiny objects in your face, making you think obtaining them will bring long-lasting joy and status. But it's all a mirage. The truth is, no possession or product can ever truly fulfill you or buy happiness. It's a cruel cycle of wanting the next best thing as soon as you get the thing you were longing for. That new car smell and thrill wears off quick, leaving you chasing the next high of consumption. And let's be real, most people can't even truly afford the lifestyles they are sold on wanting so bad. They rack up insurmountable piles of debt from mortgages, auto loans, credit cards, and financing all their big-ticket essentials. One little financial hiccup like a job loss or medical emergency away from complete ruin. The banks and lenders are wanting you trapped under that debt burden your whole life, making minimum payments till you die. That's how they keep you enslaved to the rat race routine. Work, borrow, pay, repeat. Never really getting ahead, just barely surviving to service those mounting liabilities. Debt is a dangerous pit. Speaking of debt, having a bunch of it hanging over your head is like carrying a massive weight on your shoulders 24/7. The average person today is straight up drowning in the stuff between their mortgage, student loans, credit cards, and other obligations. Money stress from debt literally clouds your mind and well-being all day, every day. You can never fully relax or feel free knowing you owe huge money pit looming over you constantly. It's a weight that keeps you stuck sprinting on that hamster wheel forever. Debt takes the dreams of owning your home outright, retiring comfortably and leaving something behind for your family, and flushes them down the drain. You spend decades chasing payment due dates instead of building wealth and prosperity. Job equals being a wage rat. For the majority of rat racers, having a traditional 9 to 5 job is the anchor weighing them down the most. Over 70% of people are stuck in roles they don't even enjoy or feel passionate about. Can you imagine that? Working 1/3 of your life at a gig you can't stand? At your job, you are forced to live by corporate bullshit policies and rules. Wear this uniform, be there at this time, don't take more than an hour lunch, ask permission to take vacation days. The list goes on. You sacrifice freedom and autonomy for a meager paycheck that gets swallowed by bills. And companies today have zero loyalty to their employees. They'll hire you one day, then cut your role the next anytime it behooves their bottom line, not giving two shits about your well-being or rent next month. You're just an expendable number in the rat race workforce supply chain. The government fuels this reality by favoring big business interests over workers' rights. Tax policies and regulations getting tilted towards corporate greed rather than the prosperity of regular citizens, all rigged to keep you trapped as an obedient, powerless human resource piece. How do the poor try to escape this? For too many folks stuck in the squeeze of the never-ending rat race, the dream of breaking free and achieving real wealth feels forever out of reach. Grinding away at lousy jobs that barely let you survive, the visions of luxury and freedom dangle like a cruel mirage. Lots of people try busting their thumbs at striving to start their own small business, maybe a little restaurant, clothing store, or hotel operation. But ditching that paycheck jail for entrepreneurship is crazy risky, especially without much savings or financial runway. One little hiccup and you're destitute. So in their desperation to get off that hamster wheel of poverty, people start looking for what feels like shortcuts or life-hacking cheat codes to accumulate real wealth. Enter the world of get-rich-quick schemes and the modern-day snake oil salesmen who peddle them. The poor pyramid trap. A few years back, an online company called Crowd1 started making mega waves and gaining traction quickly, especially among younger folks. On the surface, it seemed like some kind of social network app and e-commerce platform. A slick website touted dreams about how partnering with Crowd1 would let you take control of your life and access the ultimate wealth alliance. In reality though, Crowd1 was nothing more than a classic pyramid scheme given a modern techie rebrand. The true product they marketed wasn't software or services, it was selling someday riches to anyone thirsty enough to buy their fairy tale. Their game plan was as old as the hills: recruit, recruit, recruit. First, they bombarded social media channels to lure people in with their phony buzz about new digital money-making opportunities. Get invited to a local meetup by someone you know, and bam, you're trapped in a room with their persuasion pros giving one of those hyped pitches. The pitchmen spun tales about how signing up as a Crowd1 affiliate gave you access to mind-blowing passive income streams. Monetize your network and circle of friends, they purred. All you had to do was pony up an upfront membership fee, often $100 or more, to buy into their tech and revenue share system. Oh, and hey, if you want to earn way bigger commissions, why not spring for one of their promotional seller packages running into the thousands? The pyramid-shaped lie. Once hooked as an eager new affiliate, Crowd1's machine pushed you hard to start aggressively recruiting others below you. That's where the real money supposedly came from, building a massive pyramid of folks all kicking up a piece of their membership profits to you as a senior recruiter. So off you'd go love momming your social circles and anybody who would listen with vague promises of unlimited income opportunities through Crowd1's Too Good to Be True program. Maybe you roped in some warm family members giving you the benefit of the doubt, or friends of friends who feared missing out on this wild can't-lose proposition, while a few Crowd1 hype beasts at the very peak potentially raked in some serious juice by getting in so early. The overwhelming majority of recruits ending up holding 500 plus rose-scented bullshit bags. Person after person got mercilessly cycled through the scheme, paying up but never receiving the riches vowed to them for building their network. The cult mind trick to keep you trapped. That is because Crowd1 wasn't actually selling valuable products or services, just more promises of wealth if you kept cramming more folks into their upline. An endless chain recruitment nightmare designed to enrich just a tiny number of masterminds before the pyramid inevitably toppled. To keep folks drinking their Kool-Aid, Crowd1 fostered a cult-like community experience with big rallying events, tribal social pages, and rah-rah motivational brainwashing. As long as you fully immersed in their artificial ecosystem, the dream feels realer than the nightmare truth around you. Anybody trying to voice doubts or punch holes in the obvious scammy deck of cards gets hastily ostracized and banished from the program's inner circles. Even if your bank account's drained and you are swimming in Crowd1 debt up to your eyeballs, you are gaslighted into thinking it's your fault for not believing hard enough or hustling enough. A vicious mind trap making it nearly impossible to see through the con until it has looted you of everything you have. Winding up broke and betrayed by the snake oil scammers commonly leaves folks feeling immense shame, anger, and fear. Realizing you were just another tin pigeon for them to pluck apart haunts your self-confidence for years afterward. The emotional and financial wreckage takes an unmeasurable toll. But hey, why should these parasites care about your misery, right? They already cashed out and moved on to the next too good to be true money-making mirage to lure in fresh hopefuls desperate to escape the rat race. And the question we all have is, how do the rich get richer? For most folks stuck grinding on the rat race hamster wheel, watching hawk-rich moguls just grow richer and richer feels totally backwards and unfair. How do those elite fat cats keep ballooning their fortunes while the rest of us barely treat water? Well, see, the truly wealthy have cracked the code to a radically different money mindset and approach to building wealth. One that lets them not just stack cash through regular income like a job, but rapidly multiply their riches over and over using some savvy financial techniques. It starts with ditching the trade time for money mentality that enslaves most people. The rich know better than to just live off a single paycheck, no matter how fat. Instead, they make sure to develop multiple income streams flowing into their lives from all kinds of different money-making sources and investments. That spreads out their total income across a wide pool, minimizing risks and ensuring steady cash keeps pouring in even if one stream dries up. Someone like Elon Musk ain't just getting paid from Tesla. He's got his fingers in dozens of income-generating pies like SpaceX, The Boring Company, and smart stock crypto bets. Speaking of high-risk game-changing plays, that is another major tactic the wealthy utilize, making strategically aggressive asymmetric bets when the right opportunity arises. These are calculated gambles where they put a reasonable amount of their money on the line, chasing an investment or business idea with potentially humongous upside returns if it hits. Your neighborhood bro who went all in on Bitcoin back in 2011? Asymmetric bet that might have turned $10K into $50 million. The same with Bezos betting big on e-commerce and cloud computing in the 90s. The downside risk is real, but ultimately very limited compared to the life-altering generational wealth upside those bets could rake in if they pop off. And when these high-rolling types do happen strike entrepreneurial gold like that, you best believe they aren't just spending it all on yachts and Ferraris either. Nope, savvy rich folks instantly reinvest and diversify those windfalls across a bazillion different assets: stocks, real estate, private businesses, commodities, crypto, and whatever else they can find that's a smart place to park their rapidly growing wealth. That's the name of their game, ruthless reinvesting and spreading out their riches so they're never overly exposed if any one investment goes south. It's all about multiplying their wealth repeatedly through as many asymmetric, diverse money-making gambits as possible, always looking for that next big bet to increase their FU money even more. Which is why, for all their materialistic luxuries, the rich maintain surprisingly hustler attitudes and financially conservative lifestyles, prioritizing prudent money decisions above dumb indulgences and letting their wealth grow and compound peacefully over time. So while it might seem wildly unfair that society's 1% own the lion's share of assets and keep accumulating more and more, peep game, they play by an entirely different set of financial rules. A zero-sum mentality of leverage, big bets, diversification, and discipline that us average citizens can't even fathom. Cracking the wealth code to join the 1%. But say you are done being a half-nut rat race spectator just watching the rich get richer. Say you are ready to crunch the wealth code for yourself and start stacking serious capital of your own. Where the heck do you even begin? Well, for starters, the old dime about living below your means finally clicks into focus. If you are never seeing a lasting accumulation of money after covering monthly expenses, then you ain't yet positioning yourself for big opportunities. The wealthy's first step is radically increasing their income streams, piling up multiple side hustles, monetizing skills, grinding entrepreneurial side gigs, you name it. The steadier those pay revenues and the more aggressively you bank it without blowing it on frivolous splurges, the faster you can build up that critical wealth compounding launchpad stash. From there, you start studying up on how to spot and execute those asymmetric bets the rich deploy so brilliantly. Ever notice how self-made tycoons always seem to have an incredible risk-it-all story where they deployed their entire net worth into make or break decisive bets on themselves at pivotal moments? Like risking bankruptcy to start up a game-changing new venture or investing everything at what seemed to be the bottom of a market crash. Those are textbook asymmetric bets they calculated, knowing full well they might go totally busto, but having the foresight to predict their potential gigantic payoff significantly outweighed those worst-case scenarios. High risk, astronomically high potential reward when their big brass balls ultimately paid off. Maybe for you it means betting big on an exciting emerging tech investment at the ground floor, mortgage your house at rock bottom to try starting a business shooting for the moon. Who knows? The overarching idea is constantly being on hawk-eyed lookout for high upside, low downside money-making gambles where you can strategically risk a reasonable chunk of money for a shot at exponential generational wealth. And when you inevitably lose some of those asymmetric bets along the way, because you absolutely will, it happens to everybody, dust yourself off, recalibrate based on lessons learned, then get right back on that horse. Embracing a dogged refusal to ever stay flat broke, stacking smarter, calculated risks over and over until one inevitably slams the generational jackpot. From there, the final wealthy mindset piece is kickstarting an endless cycle of diversifying and reinvesting proceeds across lots of fresh asymmetric bets and modest passive income streams, always capitalizing on a fresh hot opportunity to stockpile more winnings while simultaneously maintaining a smart defensive nut protecting your overall stash. Rinse, wash, repeat until you've punched your ticket into the permanent 1% paradise.